Hello, I'm Dane, and this is Dan Explains. If you're a cradle Catholic, or at least someone who has been part of the church for a long time and attends Mass weekly, you may have noticed a large decrease in Mass attendance over the last few decades. It's gotten worse since COVID, but that isn't the cause. It's just pushed things along slightly faster. The trend has been obvious for decades. There's one group in the church that's growing, however: traditionalists. 50 years from now, they may be the only Catholics left. Let me explain why. "35 years ago or so, when I was a kid, I attended weekly Mass with my family. We always had to make sure we got there early enough so that we could get a seat. And there were always a few families who had to stand in the back because they got there late. I haven't seen people standing in the back of a church during a regular Mass in over 20 years. At least not at a regular diocesan church anyway, which is a Catholic church administered by the local church government, usually called a diocese or archdiocese if there's a large population. Many of the kids I saw at church when I was a kid grew up there and had families, yet they didn't bring them to church. The people I see still attending church today are my parents' age. Occasionally, or on odd days, like holy days of obligation, I'll see young families show up, like my wife and I's family, with a bunch of kids. They look traditional, so you would think they would go there every week. So, where are they? You see, not too far from where I live is a church run by the Priestly Society of St. Peter, or the FSSP for short, where these families normally attend Mass. They're an offshoot of an arguably schismatic traditional society called the Society of St. Pius X, or the SSPX, which formed after Vatican II when many priests concerned with the direction of the Catholic Church asked an Archbishop by the name of Marcel Lefebvre to found a society dedicated to the traditional practices of the Church before Vatican II, in particular the pre-Vatican II Mass. The SSPX only had one bishop, Marcel Lefebvre. In 1988, Archbishop Lefebvre decided he needed more bishops to run his society, as he was starting to get too old. So he contacted then St. Pope John Paul II to get permission to ordain 4 bishops. The Pope gave him permission to ordain 1. Lefebvre went ahead and ordained 4. This act incurred an automatic excommunication of him and the 4 bishops he ordained. Some of the priests of the SSPX didn't like what had happened, so they asked the Pope if they could form a new society, which would still be traditionalists, like the SSPX, but would also be obedient to Rome. They were given permission, and they formed the FSSP. Like the SSPX, they exclusively performed the pre-Vatican II Mass, and adhere to many of the pre-Vatican II traditions. Their Masses are packed every Sunday, like every Sunday is Easter Sunday. Their parishes are growing, while regular diocesan parishes are shrinking. Now, I've had discussions with people about this before, and they say that doesn't matter because these parishes are just poaching traditional families from their regular parishes. There is more to it than that, though, because these parishes create traditional communities as well, who perpetuate traditional Catholic values, like large families. Most Catholic families, if they even bother going to church, still use contraception, and have maybe 1 or 2 children. When those children grow up, 2/3 of them won't even attend Mass, and they'll probably have even fewer children. It's rare for anyone from one of those non-traditional families to want to go into a religious life. Not just because of the poor formation, because their parents don't want their 1 or 2 kids to have to give up their chance of giving them grandchildren. Couples of traditional parishes are encouraged to have large families, not only by their pastors, but by the others in their traditional community. So their families are larger than they otherwise would have been if these FSSP parishes hadn't existed. Children of these families are also much more likely to discern a calling to the priesthood as well. So, as time goes on, more and more prospective priests will be coming out of these traditional families. Given there hasn't been some convenient Pew Research study done that I can just call back on to back up my assertion, but I think you can see where this is going. It's not good for the Modernists, who currently run the Catholic Church. If you look around the church today, there's a growing number of traditional Catholics involved in media and entering the seminaries, even as the people who run the seminaries try to push the traditional Catholics out. It will eventually get to the point in the near future where they're the only option. So, 50 years from now, the Catholic Church will probably look much more like it did 50 years ago than it will the Church of today. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please press the like button. Subscribe to my channel and ding the bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, please support me on Patreon, link in the description. The more people support me, the more time I can dedicate to making videos like this one. So, until next time, have a great week.